Hi, and welcome to the farm. Today we're talking with Sarah Cass about homesteading, and it's all about goats. Stay tuned to find out more.
Do you want to start composting but want to make it easier, better, and smarter? Monty Monitor, paired with our app Monty Mobile, is a smart composting duo for you. To get started, download the Monty Mobile app on your phone and create your account in just a few easy steps. Connect your Monty Monitor, let the data sync, and see the results of your compost instantly. If you're wanting to take your composting to the next level, head to montycompost.co and reduce your carbon footprint today.
Sarah, thank you for having me and talking homesteading. So tell me about yourself and your goats.
Okay. We bought our farm here near Brocklehurst, and it was only a small farm. My husband and I are both from big properties. I'm from out west of Tottenham, and he's from a farm near Balladoran, which is towards Gilgandra. And we always wanted to have a farm for our kids to grow up. And so we bought this block here. It was only 70 acres, and at the time I was housebound with 3 children. But I had all these plans to buy chooks and have my horses here and goats. I grew up with goats, so I couldn't wait to get a goat. But you know, when you've got 3 kids, you're sort of housebound for a while. So it eventually came to a stage where I think my youngest, Tessa, she was 2. A soap recipe online where you make it from scratch. And I remembered how the girls' skin were always really good when it was from natural. Nothing in it but, you know, oils, and just you could control what was put in it. This is great, so I started making it. And then I thought, I could one up this and put goat's milk in it. And I said to my husband, I'm going to go buy a goat. He was like, whatever. And then I researched what goat I wanted, what breed. And I came across Toggenburg's. I was limited with choice because we live in Dubbo.
Yeah.
And at the start it was really strange because I made my father-in-law come with me because he's off the farm. And this lady said, I've got one here for you. And there was a big herd of goats, like probably 20. And this one goat just walked straight out and started nibbling my hand. And she said, you know what, that's the one that I've got picked out for you. And I thought, oh, well, this one's nice, I'll take her then.
She already likes me.
Yeah, and she was great. Anyway, no problems at all.
Yeah.
She was like a pet dog.
Yeah.
Loved me. Was happy here. She got fed. She, I don't know, fitted in with the dogs or the chooks. I'd never seen her once worried about being by herself. She was just the most beautiful goat. And she was actually pregnant when she came here, so she was going to drop. And when she did, it was 2 girls.
Yeah.
And Mum and Dad laughed and said, you guys can only breed girls because we've got 3 daughters. And Dad said, that's great, that's a good start to your stud. And it was. So I started milking Violet when her twins were born and started putting it into the soap. And I'm fascinated with the science of the soap and everything, and I mucked around with the recipes over and over and over again until I got it perfect. Absolutely perfect. And I made it so that I can put as much fresh goat's milk in as possible because I had this goat and I was milking it and I had all this milk and I wanted to not waste it. So our soap does have a lot of milk in it. Yeah. I can guarantee that. But I had to make sure everything else remained stable in the recipe so that it was still a good hard bar that would last a long time, but at the same time have lots of bubbles and be very cleansing. So it took a long time. So I built up a little herd of all these beautiful girls, and during the drought I had to make some hard decisions. So I always register our girls, and they get sold, and most of them actually go out west to homesteaders.
Yeah, perfect.
To be honest, I've been milking since 2016, and I've been doing soap since 2016. I was a hairdresser before I had the children, but I haven't gone back to hair. I still cut hair. I haven't gone back to working in a shop yet. Yeah. Which is, it's nice to work from home, really nice.
Yeah.
You know, I can go to town if children have something on at school, and it's been good. So
let's talk goat setup. So when you first brought the goats home, or your goat Violet home,
Yeah.
and as your herd has grown, what are the must-haves to have goats in the paddock and on the farmstead?
Yep.
And then if you're going into milking?
Okay. Well, don't even think about it if you don't have the fencing set up for goats.
Yeah.
They just, I don't know how they do it. They just get out.
Yeah.
It's like a challenge, and they're like challenge accepted, and they just will get out of anything. So you've got to have really good fences. I ended up buying proper goat panels from the guy at Ballymore Welding.
Yeah.
Just to keep them contained. There's this horrible stage between when the baby goats are 6 months and 12 months old, where they can fit into anything and get out of everything. So I bought those goat panels, and I've got tons of them now, and I've got a massive area, and that's where they go when they're that age, because they can get into everything. And you really have to think about your fencing if you're going to do goats.
Yeah.
Electric fencing would be preferable.
Yeah.
I have found mine are very routine.
Yeah.
And the older ones lead the younger ones. So my girls are quite happy to be led down to the big front paddock, and they spend all day in the big front paddock. That's their usual routine. So I'm lucky. I haven't got electric fencing in the front paddock, but it's worked for 4 years. There's lots of feed in there, so that helps too. But my milking setup, when I first started, I was just tying a goat up and doing it on the ground. And then a friend rang me one day and said, there's a milking stand here at the Ballymore auction. Do you want me to bid on it? And I said, yeah, just, I don't know, bid $20, and I got it for 20.
Yep.
So that was my milking stand. I have contacted Ballymore Welding to make one eventually.
Yeah.
And he gave me a price, and I thought, I've been doing it since 2016. I really should get a proper one. When I trained the goats to milking, break them in,
Yeah.
I actually put them in a headlock, which is like the cattle crush type.
Yep.
And train them to milk. They don't like it at first,
Yeah.
but they soon get used to it.
Yeah.
When they soon realise there's a bucket of feed there, and I'll just do what she wants, and
Yeah. I'll just eat my feed and she'll go
yeah,
milking.
It takes a while. Most people find their way.
Yeah.
I never really. The headlock thing isn't pleasant because they carry on like a pork chop, but it's safe for me. It's safe for them,
Yeah.
and no one's gonna get hurt. And they soon break in once they know they're getting a feed. The milking stand, I love my milking stand because I'm so used to it. I think you get used to things. Like when I was a hairdresser, I had the same barber's chair for like a decade. And I remember once I had to go and move to another lady's chair to do a haircut, and I didn't know what to do. All of a sudden everything went vacant. So I think you get used to your own area. I thought about getting into a milking machine.
Yeah.
But then I thought I'd have to clean it every day.
Yes.
And I sterilise it and things like that. And then I thought, I'm not doing that. I'd rather hand milk.
Yeah.
And I've got my girls so that I can hand milk really quickly, and it's done in, I don't know, you've seen how quick.
Yeah, not long.
I'm usually listening to a podcast, so's the goat. So, I don't know, it's just such a big part of my life now. Get up, put the dishwasher on, wash the clothes, hang the clothes out, milk the goat.
Yeah.
It's just another thing to be done.
Yeah.
And I've got fresh milk all the time. I don't mind drinking the milk. My husband's a bit funny about it. The children will drink it, but it's been lovely. I love goats.
Yeah.
I've always loved goats. They do need so much food.
Yeah.
I feed. They always have oats all year round.
Yeah.
It's expensive having goats, much more expensive than I ever thought, to keep the condition on them, to keep them all through pregnancy. Like, they can get pregnancy toxemia from not having enough when they were first conceived, and all sorts of things. So you've got to always keep that food up to them.
Yeah.
And because it's such a huge milk production. If I milked Nancy right out, I'd get 4 litres.
Yeah.
And I actually leave the kids on the mothers and milk.
Yeah.
So there's enough for me and there's enough for them. They usually drop twins.
Yeah.
And usually girls. We have had a few boys, but they need a lot of food. We always supplement with hay, lucerne hay, oat and hay. oats all year round. They get it at night because I lock them up at night.
Yeah.
Hobby farms, there's always someone's darling pet dog running around at night, so I'm not going to risk that.
Yeah.
And so they're in proper kennels. They cannot get out of them,
Yeah.
and they know that. And they get their supplement in the morning when I milk them,
Yeah.
and at night, and then they get let out to graze in probably 20, 30 acres.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they, unless you live somewhere where there's a lot of grass, you'd have to supplement.
Yeah.
I think.
So Sarah, you've got horses, goats, chickens, peacocks, and a nice range of animals here. Would you say that the goats are about a medium animal to raise and look after, or are they more on the higher scale? Where would you put them?
Well, you've got to milk them.
Yeah.
I can't leave.
Yeah.
So whenever we have a holiday, I have to arrange for someone to come and milk the goats.
Yeah.
You are locked in. It's been a real learning curve for me. Because they're not like the goats where I grew up that were feral, that we went on our horses and found babies in the bush and raised on a bottle.
Yeah.
They're indestructible, those ones. These ones are a little bit soft. they're easy to... I always heard you can't kill a goat, but you can.
You can. So it sounds like it would go chickens, peacocks, horses, goats.
Yeah.
So putting goats into that
Yeah.
harder category.
Milking goats anyway.
Milking goats anyway. Yeah.
Meat goats, I reckon they'd be...
Yeah.
They're just like dogs, goats.
Yeah.
So meat dogs would be great.
Yeah. So once you got the fencing
Yeah.
in, meat goats would be fine.
Yeah. I'd like to one day get into meat goats actually.
Yeah.
But again, fences.
Yeah.
And we've got the wilter pole, and we've had them for 12 years, and they're great.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them.
So if someone was getting into goats for the first time, Sarah, what would be your top tips, tricks and hacks?
Buying a goat for the first time, try and take someone that knows about goats with you,
Yeah.
and not just goats, milking goats.
Yeah.
That was my thing. I didn't know. I knew about goats, but I didn't know about milking goats.
Yeah.
Have a vet phone number ready to ring, or someone knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Have somewhere safe for them to go.
Yeah.
I don't like goats being tethered. I know people do it, and we used to do it at the farm at Tottenham, but it's not a nice life, I don't think. That's why I'd rather pay for fencing.
Yeah. And free range.
Yeah.
them.
I know some people do it. They're great grazers.
Yeah.
If you have something that needs eating down, like a paddock, they're great for that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Milking goats, be prepared. When you start milking for the first time, don't cry over spilt milk.
Yeah.
There's going to be a fair bit of that. I remember being so angry at myself because she trod in the milk bucket, and I was so angry and so upset, But yeah, just chuck it away. Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah. Start again.
Yeah, you'll get there. You'll find your own routine.
Have patience with yourself and
Yeah.
your goat.
Now, I make cheese as well.
Yeah.
And when I'm milking just for soap, I'm not as strict with the milk. But if it's for us to eat, I just go overkill, and what I do is, a little thing I do is I put cheesecloth over the top of the bucket, so I'm milking straight through the cheesecloth so it catches any hair or any leaf, and it's a sterilised bucket. I'm just fanatically, if I'm going to make cheese, because, you've got to have it so fresh and so perfect. But yeah, when it's just for the soap, I'm not too worried about it, because I do, put it through a filter before it goes into the soap, but it's going to be going through the soap process. It's going to kill anything anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're going to make cheese,
Yeah.
you've got to be pretty clean with the milk and everything.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
So Sarah, can you tell me who's in your family? Who makes up your family?
My husband, Greg, myself, and our 3 daughters, Mary, she's 13, Amy's 11, and Tessa's 9.
Beautiful.
So yeah, they're all growing up.
And you grew up on a farm at Tottenham?
Yeah.
And your husband from Balladoran?
Yeah, Balladoran it is, which is north of here, on the same railway track.
Yep.
And it's just outside of Gilgandra.
Yeah.
So his family farm there, been there for generations. So our farm at Tottenham was near a place called Bobadar, and Mum and Dad were wheat and sheep farmers out there. So it was 6,000 acres. So we grew up.
Yeah.
I didn't leave there till I was 17.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we grew up pretty isolated, really.
Yeah.
When I think about it. So yeah, I had a friend go out there recently because she works for national parks and wildlife or something like that, and she knew about bobtail because I talked about it, and she came back and she said, "Oh my God, you weren't lying when you said you lived in the sticks." I said, "Oh well, it didn't feel like it at the time." You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty isolated. So yeah, and we wanted to have a farm for our children.
When you first moved to this block, what was the first things you put in place to raise the girls here and then to look after your animals here?
First thing I did was put gates on, because the people who lived here before had sort of a fence up but no gates.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, that's great. The kids will just, when they're toddlers, they'll just make a run for it. And the first thing I did was put gates on the house yard so I could safely contain the children, because they're like goats.
Yeah.
They need to be monitored all the time.
Yeah.
And I bought this place because growing up on a merino farm, it was set up into, even though it's 70 acres, the fences, the paddocks set up into 7 paddocks,
Yeah.
laneway, great set of yards.
Perfect.
The only problem was it didn't have a stand,
Yeah.
a shearing shed with a stand, so I was like, oh well, I'll have a look at these shedding sheep.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful, like, as far as I always wanted to have, so we've got about, I don't know, 40 head of sheep that I've always ran.
Yeah.
And they're just pure wilter pole that we got from Rita down at Yamunjeri.
Yeah.
And a little starter pack we got when we first moved here. And yeah, we just breed them every year and I sell off the ewes to hobby farmers.
Yeah.
So I was more, once I got my sheep organised, that's when I,
Yeah.
because you know, sheep was easy for me.
Yeah.
But the goats that was completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was good. It had a good dam on it. It had good water.
Yeah.
When you buy on a farm, it's all about the water.
It's got to have water. Yeah.
Bore water. Got to have bore water.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And a good dam. So yeah, I was looking at all these things. Good fences, good paddocks. It had all been divided into good sized paddocks. It had been cleared.
Thank you for joining us here on the farm. I hope you've learned as much about milking goats as I have today. If you've enjoyed this podcast and would like to hear more stories about homesteading, rural life and being a mum on the land, even if you are moving to the land for the first time, please like, subscribe and follow along for more tips, tricks, hacks and stories about moving to the land.